Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and who here is excited for the Super Mario Bros. Movie? Oh, all of you! Perfect! That's what I thought. Pretty much everybody is, except the guys at Giant Freaking Robot. I'm sorry, guys and gals and all y'all folks in between, because they must have been on mushrooms when they wrote this scathing article about Chris Pratt and his role in the film and how he is making folks not want to go see the movie because of how he conducts himself in interviews. It's, of course, pure grade blue turtle shell trash. Let's take a look at this. Chris Pratt is ruining the hype for the Super Mario movie and fans are taking him down. Chris Pratt has made it clear that he doesn't know much about Mario despite voicing the character in the new movie, and fans aren't letting him get away with it. Oh no, an actor took on a role about, a video game character that he might not necessarily know too much about. First of all, I doubt that's true. Everyone and their grandmother knows Mario. It's arguably the most recognizable video game. I wouldn't even say arguably. He is the most recognizable video game mascot in the world. So let's see what they have to say. I mean, I've already read it. I know what they have to say. But let me enlighten you so that you don't have to give this article any sort of clicks and any sort of traction. Ever since the Super Mario Bros. Movie announced that the Jurassic World Dominion star Chris Pratt would be voicing the iconic video game character Mario, Nintendo fans have gone feral on the internet declaring all the reasons why this was the wrong casting choice. And according to Queerty, I wonder, what is Queerty? Let's take a look here. Right, you can see it right here. I'm hoping it shows up on the screen with dark mode on. Queerty, free of an agenda, except that gay one. So yes, of course this is going to be an article reporting on Chris Pratt because he has all these accusations of being anti-LGBT against him. Accusations which are baseless, might I add. So yeah, we'll go ahead and trust this reliable source, Queerty. According to Queerty, Pratt isn't doing himself any favors in trying to win over the fans. In fact, while doing publicity for the movie, the actor continuously proves that he doesn't know much about Mario or the Mushroom Kingdom at all. Because it's a prerequisite to be an absolute fan of everything you're doing when your job is just to be an actor. Don't get me wrong, I do love it when they are fans of the source material. Henry Cavill is a godsend to nerds because of his love and care for the source material. That being said, if you're asking every actor to be an absolute fan of every character they play, aren't you asking a bit much? You think Robert Downey Jr. sat there and read Iron Man comics his entire life growing up? Did Elijah Wood obsessively reread the Lord of the Rings trilogy books every summer in between school on summer break, growing up? Was that something that Elijah Wood did? What about Bill Burr? You guys love Bill Burr. He's great. You love The Mandalorian. He's in The Mandalorian. He has actively talked about how he doesn't like Star Wars, and that's the joke of him acting in The Mandalorian, is that he's not a Star Wars fan. That's what makes it funny. But no, go on and tell me how characters that are playing, in nerd culture need to absolutely be nerds. I'm a nerd, and even I get this is not the case. Not everything is for everyone. But sure, kick back and tell yourself that Halle Bailey was born to play the role of Storm because she looked up to her growing up, because she spent all of her days indoors, reading comics instead of hanging out with the cheerleaders. Maybe a lot of these people were nerds. Maybe they did read those comics or play those video games or whatever growing up. But to throw out here that he was the wrong casting choice because he isn't enough of a nerd, I think that you guys are about to shoot yourself in the foot with some hypocrisy if I was to look through some, past articles of yours. Let's continue. Chris Pratt had already made himself unpopular with progressive movie watchers that had criticized the terminalist actor for who he follows on social media and the church the actor attends. Pratt famously has been a member of the celebrity-wooing megachurch Hillsong Church, a global Australian Christian church that is infamously anti-LGBTQ+. No, not true. That is not true. That's some baseless accusation that there's maybe a couple members that were like that, but yeah, to lump the whole church in or to say the church is like that, that's not the case. It's been proven time and time again that wasn't the case. But sure, go on with this, narrative that has been disproven time and time again because the only way that you can get your clicks is this outrage culture. And though Pratt has preached his love and acceptance and swears that he doesn't have any anti-LGBTQ+ beliefs, some people beg to differ because the personalities and groups the actor follows on social media. Oh no! He follows people that may or may not have different opinions than him. What a crime! I, for one, make sure that I only follow individuals on social media that I line up with 100%. I want my echo chamber to be airtight. You hear me? The Guardians of the Galaxy actor has a history of following extreme right-wing political figures like Ben Shapiro. Really, that's what you're going to go with for extreme far-right? Ben Shapiro, the 5'0" Jewish dude who was like the leading recipient of anti-Semitic hate on the internet? Yeah, we'll call him, far-right. Tucker Carlson. Dude, Tucker Carlson is a moderate at best. He's not some hardcore right-winger. You just don't like the dude, but he's a pretty moderate Republican. And the anti-gay hate group Turning Point USA. Do I have to begin why Turning Point USA is not an anti-gay hate group? Oh my goodness, that's insane. They have gay speakers at their events all the time. Because of these associations, Chris Pratt had already earned the title of the least favorite Chris in Hollywood, compared to other famous Chris's, including fellow Marvel alums Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans. Yeah, well, let me tell you, Chris Hemsworth, totally fine, no issue with him at all. Chris Evans is a word that I probably shouldn't say. Chris Evans is a Bowser. I'm gonna, use a different B word in terms of Chris Evans is a Bowser. So, yeah, no doubt Pratt believed that he would get back in the fans' good graces by accepting the role of the beloved Mario. Because I'm sure that's why he did it. It's not like he, needed it or anything. Homeboy has been a staple in the MCU. He's got successful Jurassic World, The Terminal List, killed it on Amazon. His Parks and Rec fame from way back when is still carrying him. But he's like, oh no, my image. Everyone's calling me right-wing and anti-gay. I know how to fix it. I'll play Mario. How do you make that leap? Where's the jump there? You must have pressed the B button hella hard. But as it turns out, his casting in the Super Mario Bros. Movie made the actor even more unpopular. Really. It made the actor even more unpopular because last I checked, I took a look at some of the dislikes because, I'm not some sort of plebeian. I have the dislike counter on YouTube. I've got that cool extension. So this is the new trailer that came out just earlier today, 12 hours ago. 6,000 likes to 105 dislikes. Oh yeah, super unpopular. On the one hand, Mario is an Italian immigrant, or in the case of the movie, the son of an Italian immigrant, and Chris Pratt is not of Italian descent. Yeah, and neither was John Leguizamo when he played Luigi. Neither was Bob Hoskins, who played freaking Mario. The dude's British. So you don't have to be of Italian descent to voice a fictional video game character for a movie about a dude that goes to a mushroom kingdom to save a princess from a dragon. I don't think his literal Chris Pratt's DNA, his biological makeup, not being Italian, is truly going to affect that role. Not only that, but let's say that you did get someone who was Italian there, and they were doing all these Italian stereotypes like meatball, oh that's a spicy. Like, wouldn't that? You would just flip it and call that racist or stereotypical. So it's the ultimate stuck between a mushroom and a hard place. But what confused fans even more than Mario's lineage was when the trailer for the movie dropped and fans got the first listen of Chris Pratt's voice as Mario, and he sounded, well, like Chris Pratt. Since Mario has a very distinct voice since 1996 when Charles Martinet, they said Chris Martinet here. You put some respect on that man. You want to sit here and throw shade at Chris Pratt and you can't even get Charles Martinet's name right? Let me tell you, I've met the guy. I've been with him in person for an extended period of time, and the guy is incredible. He is great, and you can't even respect him enough to get his name right. Ooh, yeah, just get off that high horse of yours, that high Yoshi giant freaking robot. Charles Martinet first voiced the character in the Super Mario 64 video game. Well, also, that wasn't when he first voiced the character. He first voiced the character in a series of, video, background screen things that he would go around to department stores and do because Nintendo was doing this marketing push for Mario. But I digress. You couldn't even get that right. But whatever. Let's just go on. Keep preaching about how awful Chris Pratt is when you didn't even do your own homework. How about you actually come to someone who knows a thing or two about Nintendo knowledge before you start posting these slanderous articles? Fans were disappointed to hear that Mario's classic voice would not be a part of the new movie. Well, first of all, he's not even, as much as I love Charles Martinet, the dude's a legend, he's not the classic voice as you call him, because that wasn't the first time Mario had a voice. Mario's had a voice since the 80s in the TV show, Super Mario Bros. Super Show, where he did just sound like a sort of rough and tumble Brooklyn, New Yorker with a bit of Italian in there, which is fine. To me, that's actually my Mario. I didn't have a Nintendo 64 growing up. No, I didn't have a Nintendo system till the GameCube because I was a Sega kid, Dreamcast for life. Point is, my version of Mario, the Mario that I grew up with the voice of, was the Super Mario Bros. Super Show Mario. And let me tell you, Chris Pratt doesn't sound too off from that. When I heard Charles Martinet doing Mario, I had to get used to it. It was weird for me because I grew up with Mario sounding relatively normal. So don't even sit there and try and say that, Charles Martinet is the classic voice. He's not. The classic voice would be the first time, the original voice back in the Super Show days. But sure, whatever. And technically, he probably even had small versions of voices before that for different promotional material. But when we're talking fully voice cast and acting, it was the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. The Super Mario Bros. Movie has now been in publicity mode for months. months, giving Chris Pratt one last opportunity to convince fans that he was the right choice for the role, and unfortunately, the Parks and Recreation actor is only reinforcing the fans' original beliefs. While doing a group interview with the cast of the movie on The Kelly Clarkson Show, Pratt showed just how much he doesn't know about Mario, the Mushroom Kingdom, or the rest of the source material that the movie is based on. While discussing the movie, Pratt called the video games comic books. Really? No. He said comic books, laughed, and said, I mean video games. He probably said comic books because the media has been doing nothing but shoveling out stupid superhero movies based on comics for the last 15 years, many of which he has been in, and so he was just like, when it comes to nerdy stuff, slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. He said comic book, laughed, and immediately corrected himself. And said that classic video game characters were merely avatars without personality. This is true. When they came out back then, that's exactly what they were. The whole reason Link is named Link is because he's supposed to be the link between you, the player, and the game. Mario was an avatar with no personality. Now, he got one as the years went on, but tell me, what's Mario's defining characteristic? What would you say you know the most about Mario's interpersonal life? Probably not much, because he doesn't have much of a character. That is part of the point. He's a mascot. He's just a lovable mascot character who is a good guy that does good things, goes around saving the princess, energetic, happy, all these very basic, surface-level things. What Chris Pratt said in this interview was 100% true. Mario ain't exactly a super deep-dive psychological character. Mario ain't no Batman. So when Chris Pratt was talking about how they had to figure out the way to adapt a character that hadn't really had much of a personality on screen, that's entirely accurate. You couldn't sit there and tell me what are Mario's hopes for the future, his dreams, his goals, what is he afraid of. There aren't a lot of deep analyses you could do about Mario if you were to use only his video game appearances, because he really isn't exactly much of a character. He's more of an avatar. Chris Pratt was entirely correct, and you might not like the fact that if I'm saying that, Nintendo fanboys watching this, I'm a Nintendo fanboy too. I'm just saying, I'll take Nintendo over the others, Sony, Microsoft, whatever, any day of the week. But if we're being honest and realistic, Mario didn't have much of a personality outside of woohoo, and then being kind of a goody two-shoes and saving the world and whatnot. He was very much a cardboard cutout and is more of an avatar for the player. Chris Pratt knows that. In fact, I'm pretty sure the higher-ups that he was working with that helped him develop this version of the character knew that, and that's part of the process. Despite there being more than 200 games in various genres released over the past 30 years that have fleshed out who Mario and his friends are. Really, fleshed out Mario and his friends are. Ask any normie, ask anyone that's not a hardcore Nintendo addict what Peach's favorite food is. I couldn't tell you. I am quite the hardcore Mario fan, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what Peach's favorite food is. I can't tell you if Yoshi has any siblings or a traumatic past. I couldn't tell you what a Toad does on his time off, except for treasure hunting, because there's a game called, Treasure Hunter Toad or whatever. Aside from treasure hunting, what does Toad do when he's just chilling? I don't know, because they really haven't fleshed out these characters within 200 games. They haven't. This is, once again, you're hoping that your readers are dumb enough to just sit there and be like, oh wow, 200 games and Chris Pratt doesn't know what Mario's personality is? What an anti-LGBT bad man who can't even be Italian. I don't want him playing Mario. I grew up playing Mario. Like, no, you guys are retarded. One particularly peeved Mario fan edited these interview slip-ups together in one clip, which you can see in the video below. Well, I'm not going to watch it. Yeah, okay, so that seems to be that. But look, guys, this movie's gonna break the bank. This article from Giant Freaking Robot, it's not gonna change anything. It's not gonna make anyone go, you know what? I'm not gonna go see the Mario movie now because Chris Pratt. I hate Seth Rogen. I loathe Seth Rogen. There are very, very, very few actors, or people in general, on the face of this earth I dislike more than Seth Rogen. And guess what? He's in the movie and he's playing Donkey Kong. I'm not letting that stop me from going and seeing a Mario movie just because Seth Rogen is freaking Donkey Kong. So when I tell you that people aren't going to not see the movie just because Chris Pratt is Mario, it ain't happening. This movie is going to kill it at the box office. The response has been incredibly amazing. And even for the folks that have said they don't like Chris Pratt's voice, alright, fine. Everyone has still said Jack Black as Bowser has stole the show and all of the advertisements, so they would still go to see that. The movie's going to make a bunch of money. But this article was absolutely, it's like a banana peel in Mario Kart. It's very easy to ignore. You just kind of can go around it. But when you do hit it, does it make you mad? But yeah, that's about where we're at with this. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, or you can let me know on Twitter, where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe to the channel. I just hit the over 500 subscriber mark, which I can't thank you guys enough for. I mean, it's really incredible. I've been doing this for not quite even 3 months yet, and over 500 subscribers. So thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And here's to making that number grow even larger. And please, by all means, I am a nerdy news channel. I do nerdy news every day. Not always about video games. Sometimes about anime, Disney, Star Wars, Magic the Gathering. You name it. It's all here in the nerdosphere. And this has been Words of Paradise. Let's go!